Hello, everybody. Hello. How are you doing? So, today I want to talk about something that I have definitely been struggling with, and sure a lot of us are. It's obstacles and how to handle them. The biggest one recently that I've come to realize with obstacles is understanding how the obstacle affects your personal growth. Because when you look at it as it's a hindrance, then, well, yeah, it kind of is. But if you look at it as you're needing to change, you're needing to let go of an old mindset, then it suddenly is becoming a learning lesson and a really valuable lesson. What I've really been struggling with the idea of loneliness and being stuck. It's, but I realize it's not that I am lonely or stuck. My old ego, my old way of thinking believes what I'm doing, no matter what, I will stay single. I will stay stuck at where I'm at, stuck helping other people succeed in their business, but never building one for myself. I had to sit down one day. I literally went and bought myself a breakfast at a local cafe and had an internal dialogue. Um, there's a really cool book, really healing your inner child. It's like a green cover with like white chalk drawings and a little like stick figure kid. I don't remember the author's name. But, the main thing she teaches is write with your dominant hand the question and then give the pen or have a separate pen in your non-dominant hand and have a reply. There's a lot of rules into this. I mean, it's not complicated. It's like, don't bully the non-dominant hand for its writing and punctuation. Don't be mean to it. Don't correct it in a rude way, kind of thing. Because in essence, you're kind of talking to your younger self because all the nerves in that hand haven't aged or grown. So what I've learned is when I was doing it, I would take my dominant hand, ask the question, and then I would listen to the voice, still voice in my head. And I just came to the point. I'm like, oh, okay. A little voice that goes, hi, how are you? My name is Josh. One thing. He talks like this. He sounds a little like a little kid from Boston. But so when I heard that voice, I'm like, oh, okay. Little Josh is saying something. So I bought myself a breakfast, and we had a conversation as I'm eating my nacho supreme plate for $12. Oh, it was so good. Um, but that's when I realized I'm like, wow. He told me, he said, no, this is the best job you've ever had, the best boss you've ever had. You're just not willing to see it that way. You're looking at it from when you worked night shift. And for that job, yeah, it was a dead end. I wasn't going anywhere. When I first started the podcast, I was working night shift, and my chances of growth in that company were slim to none. Um, because I was the only one willing during COVID to scrub shit off a toilet for like 15.50 an hour at night. Um, but now I'm with my uncle. I also have I'm getting better at managing my time, but now I have free time. I'm waking up early in the morning, going to the gym, mostly for myself, but health too. And so that's what little Josh was telling me. He said, "This is the best job ever. I'm paying off." He's like, "You're paying off all your credit cards. You have a lot of money left over. You live with mom and dad, and they let you live here, and they're helping you with your car. Like, this is the best situation possible for you." So, and that's when I realized I need to regularly evaluate and adjust my mindset to leverage that obstacles are positivity, a chance to shed the ego, the past ego. The the hard part of letting go of the past ego, though, it's you've built an identity around it, and but that's not really you, though. That is a old version of you. It's like software. There's always updates. So that's software version 1.3. But now you're going to 1.4. Not that big of a difference, but it is. But if you do a couple more of those, even if it's micro iterations like 1.003, and you just keep doing it, then 1.004, that's still growth. Now it's going to take longer to hit 2, but it's growth. And that's when I realized, especially when I was reading all the different literature, like the most recent book I finished is The Mountain Is You. I don't remember the author offhand. I know it's like maybe Brianna Weiss or something. Yeah, something like that. Um, I highly recommend it because I think she says in her book is similar to what I'm saying is the thing that brings you frustration where every time you hit an obstacle, you're thinking, God, it's just inevitable, this and that. You in essence have to let go of it. It's like the mindset of, okay, if I can't go around, I can't go over or under, how do I do it? Well, the fourth option or fifth option is break through it. So it's making your mind expand. And that's where that book especially was helpful. And that's made me realize, like, man, obstacles, like the moment you sit there and you clench your fist, or you mockingly think in your head, oh, you freaking idiot, kind of thing. Um, dismissing ideas. It's you're not evolving, you're staying stagnant. And the adaptability and evolution is important. Another book I'm working on getting through is Discipline is Destiny by um Ryan Holiday. That one's really cool. He's the one that inspired me to start going to the gym in the morning because that's other than the last week of obstacles that came up, that didn't allow me to get proper rest and go to the gym. But I'm readjusting the schedule now. And that's where I realized I'm like, I don't have a sense of control, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna bring me a sense of control, and I still need to finish the book, and I am. Uh, but another one I'm just reading, I bought it at Barnes& Noble, actual paperback book. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and then Seneca and Epictetus. Their books too. That one's really nice. Um, yeah, that there's especially the reading. I mean, I'm not becoming some diehard Stoic, but adopting some of the Stoic ideas in my evolutions and my updates, it's actually really nice. Um, it's also helped me with my recovery and identity shift when using pornography. Um, as of today and recording this, I hit my time frame, so I am 31 days clean. Um, and the biggest one for me is realize is just letting it go. Um, I was using constantly in the past because I felt like I wasn't worthy of a woman, so I had to do this because at least I could imagine a girlfriend kind of thing. Could tie into a bit of self-fulfilling prophecy, but and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the the hardness that came from that though was I did it since I was 12. And I'm 31 now giving it up. Almost 20 years. It was a hard identity shift to get rid of. For me, it was, especially when I first broke it off with my ex, I really just got the super hornies. I was lonely, desperate, needing dopamine from all the pain. And then I had a few incidences early 2024 where I got hit in the head on my birthday and had to go to ER and get some staples in my head. And then I also, 2 months later to the day, fell off a ladder and cracked my face open and had to go to the doctors and get stitched up. But so that's especially when I realized, like, it's kind of weird to say out loud, but when I was watching a certain porn on the first fall, I was tricking myself and saying, "Oh, I'm going to use dopamine to ease the pain. It's okay," kind of thing. It's like a free Tylenol kind of thing, and it's more fun. But I went on Pornhub and I found a video. My favorite, um, formerly favorite, uh, porn actress was Nasha Nice or Natasha Nice. Um, and I was like, wow, 'cause she has like a fertility goddess figure. And but I was really confused. I was watching it and like going and going, and she essentially did it with trannies, and I literally heard like my brain split in half when I came. Like I was screaming at myself. I actually went for a walk in the hills nearby and was just like, "What the fuck did you just do? What the fuck did you just do?" Kind of thing. And that's especially when I started de-escalating. The other one was when I started using AI porn. Um, that was one hell of a trip. Oh my gosh, the ability to create whatever you want, however you want it. I feel so bad for future generations of men and women. That's gonna be a brutal one to get out of because, I mean, why should you give it up kind of thing? But, um, I think it was like March 11th. or something like that. Yeah. Um, I essentially my parents went out for a concert. I said, "Okay, feel free, indulge, have fun, and binge as hard as you want, but from this day on, we are not using." So I did. I think it was like climax, like six ish. Um, that's where the week was a hell of a week of a withdrawal. But sleepless nights are real, by the way. If anyone tells you it's not true, oh, that's bullshit. But the biggest once I gave that up, I made a contract with myself and gave that up. My identity shifted, and suddenly my creativity increased. Now, I still have a problem with actually typing and writing stories, but this is where it was back in November, I think. It was after I broke it off with my ex, a couple months after I broke it off, but it was still while I was in therapy with my therapist, Christian, student in training. Um, is when I bought this $50 unlimited transcribing, unlimited note with AI. Started writing my stories more consistent after the second break with AI. Ego break, by the way, not just literal break. Um, and that's when I realized I was like, oh my God, I can write stories now. I've studied the structure, well, I'm still struggling with pacing, but I'm getting better. But like the narratives and the emotional twist and the drama and controversies keep you hooked and reading. I already knew that. I just couldn't write it. Whatever it is, when you put me in front of a keyboard, I can't. It's like hunt and peck. I know how to type normal with all 10 fingers, but when it comes to creativity, it's like hunt and peck. I feel like I'm like a 5-year-old again, which could be another reason why I need to write like that. But and I think I will in my free time as I think about it out loud now. Oh, my creativity, oh my gosh, has gone through the roof. And now, well, especially with this one prompt I figured out, it can generate almost 3,000 words. I can spell out the whole scene with everything I was listening, and it will rewrite it and fill in everything I need. And it's so great. I'm like, oh my God, I can actually, like, wow, look, this is exactly what I was thinking, kind of thing. This is exactly what I saw when I was writing this. The whole bullet points out. So I'm working on a um, mystery thriller, definitely psychological, but there's also like cult. And the main character, his name's Marcus Blackwood, and he's like a former military PI. He starts off kind of noir with the music and all that, and then essentially Fiona Sinclair, I believe is her name. Yeah, Fiona Sinclair, and she comes in presenting all the ideas to him, and like we're having trouble, people are being kidnapped, but also there's this dangerous magical artifact kind of thing, and so they all go out. There's a little bit of spiciness in the middle. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that though. I've gotten mixed reviews on that, but yeah. So I'm working on that, but I'm also working on my manual for recovery. Um, and honestly, it's the same thing. I figured out how to write a nonfiction prompt. Surprisingly, it's hard for ChatGPT to write nonfiction. I figured out a prompt for that. I also figured out an editor too. So I have a bunch of these really powerful prompts for speech to note. But so yeah, I feel happy. Like today, part of the reason this is flowing a little bit better is I actually told my ideas as speech to note, and it's given me an outline. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for all this. I've been dreaming and talking about this for years, since like 11 or 12. But now I'm actually doing it. I'm gonna get it done. Now, I want to go into self-fulfilling prophecies. For self-fulfilling prophecies, it's a very tricky thing because there's no science behind it, but everyone knows it does exist, but you can't inherently prove it. But my personal belief is why I don't really post on social media, why I don't really interact with social media, especially TikTok's the worst of them all. But is whatever you consume, you become. Think about that. Whatever you consume, you become. So I I can give you a really good example, actually. When I was in high school, I used to listen to Slipknot, Disturbed, a couple other really aggressive, angry bands, and I was the living embodiment of those songs. I was angry, fighting, starting shit, kind of, recently, it's relatively recently, um, well, at least that I can consciously track. I've slowly been turning off my music, and I only listen to happy ambient music now, or if it is lyrics, what I'm doing is based off the what you consume, you become, is listening to manifestations that I create, mostly with speech to note. And the biggest one, I have found this really cool audio sound, it's like Nirvana waves or whatever on a stock photo place that gave stock audio also. Um, so that's another one I listen on repeat because of that, if whatever you listen, you become. So it says, I am successful in the present tense. I am a very creative writer that doesn't have any blocks. My ideas flow freely and are evergreen. I guess you could call it reconditioning or brainwashing, but it's working. I'm much more creative. I'm much more confident. The one I'm more recently working on is manifesting a girl, because I refuse to use dating apps. That's another one. If you use dating apps, especially as a man, but I know it's really bad for women too. For the ladies listening, you have a different problem. You have all the fish in the sea that want you, and most of them are just shit, kind of thing. But and then there's the men who there's a misproportionate amount of men wanting this little pool of women. Yeah, but it'll destroy your self esteem, self confidence, everything. I think it was your brain on porn that told me most, if not all, users um on dating apps are avoidance. That right there was like, holy shit, that explains everything. It's not inherently that I'm bad. He would just get the avoidance, but also he mentioned he couldn't really correlate it, but he said more than likely they're also narcissistic. I sat there and I'm like, oh my God, that explains my last three exes and the horrifying stuff I went through. The weird ass stories. Oh my God, I could go on a whole tangent with that. But that's why I won't use dating apps. So I'm working on a manifestation. And I believe it's working. I have to believe it. If you're interested in that, by the way, if you made it this far, um, in the description, you can actually click a link and text my podcast. You can actually text me. And if you leave your number, I might even text you back on my Google Voice number. You never know. Just saying. So if you have any critiques, ideas, or just want to put me on blast, go for it. I want to really use that feature. So, but music, especially, I forgot which book I was reading, but essentially, music bypasses everything and it gets you in a hypnotic state, which goes back to where I was as a young man in high school, where it says I was an angry, rebellious person. Well, yeah, I was hypnotically kind of reconditioned to become that. So it's be very careful on what you consume. And yeah, that's about it. Have a good one, everyone. If you have any questions, comments, if you want to text me, I really want someone to text me. I've been having a conversation with myself, but have a good one. And till next time, stay safe, my friend.
Well, congratulations. You made it to the end. You are a awesome person. Not many make it here. So, being the awesome person that you are, can you do me one more awesome favor? Can you rate and review this on whatever podcast services you're using? If you do it on Apple and you leave an actual written review, I have a thing on my website. I will take your written review and post it for all to see. Congratulations, you're permanently sealed on my site. Otherwise, I am trying to do YouTube more and live streaming. I will try to put as many of the YouTube links in the description of the show as I can. So give your boy some extra help over on YouTube. Watch my videos. I just mute it and change the channel, change the window or something. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for being awesome and see you next time.